Hey everyone, and welcome to the first in our Every Model is a Necromunda Model competition judging video. So if you don't know what Every Model is a Necromunda Model, aka EMINEM, it is a competition where people have to go out and kit bash and make a model for Necromunda without using any of the GW Necromunda models and products. They are allowed to use weapons and accessories just to give them that little vibe, but the idea is you make it all from scratch. Now, in that, there were funky random rolling tables that we created to make and help people come up with ideas. They had themes, weapon types, gang types, and all these little added extras as well to help invite and spark that creativity. But if you want to find out more about the competition and all the ways it was run, there's a link to the video up now, which is where we launched and talked about all the rules for the campaign, and you can figure that all out there. But what we're going to be looking at today is the top 10 of the individual model entries. Now, people could enter both gangs and individual models, and there are prizes for each. So today we're looking at those individual models. Now, just to clarify, before I go and meet our co-collaborators, I wanted to just talk to you about the process as how we came to create this top 10 list. Firstly, me, Chris and Carl all went off and made our own top 25s, which was really hard. There was over 160 different entries, of which over 80 of them were individual models, and to get that down to 25 took me a really long time. And what we did once we'd made our top 25, we then brought those all together and looked at where we overlapped. And to be honest, out of the top 25 covering all three of us, we covered nearly half of the model entries. There were 46 different ones in our three sets of top 25. So you can see that, I think, proves how difficult this was. And what we did is, out of those top 25, we found the ones that all three of us agreed on. And all three of us agreed on actually only about 6 of them. And that's kind of wild as well, but all three of us all overlapped on 6, and then we had a discussion together as to if we still agreed with that and which are the ones that two of us agreed with that we felt actually we agreed maybe they should be the one. And it was a really, really great discussion. I wish in some ways we recorded it, but to be honest, this video is already going to be long enough as it is. But that's how we then deliberated to find this top 10 set. Now, I can't thank, before we get into this, so much the help and support that I've had from both Carl and Chris. They have both been absolutely fantastic through this, and I'm really sorry that it's taken a long time to get this video out because I had a baby and all this sort of stuff, and as you may be hearing now, I'm a little bit under the weather. But here it is, and I want to say to everyone before we get into the top 10 is that the competition was really close, and we deliberated for such a long time to get to where we are now, and it was heartbreaking to make people not enter in this top 10. But if you don't find yourself here, you might find yourself in the gangs, as well as in the best painted and the other categories which we have, which are best narrative, best base, and best artistic endeavor. And those will be in different videos, where we'll do one for the best gangs, for the best painted, and then in about a month's time, I'll give you details of that at the end of this episode, where we will do a winner's announcement for all three of these categories, plus the 3 other categories of best narrative, best basing, and best artistic endeavor. And before you go, I just want to let you know there will be a timestamp in the bottom that takes you to the end of this episode, where I will be talking about the People's Choice Award. The People's Choice Award is going to be our top 25 individual models of which you can vote on. And all the information on how you vote and that competition will be at the end, because I want to get into showing you off these models. But just to let you know how we decided that, as I said before, when we took all of our 3 top 25s, we overlapped by 2 of us with 26 models. So what we did is we whittled that down by 1 to 25, and those individual models will be put up onto a Google voting form, and from there you can vote for your favorite model. And there'll be a 3-week period in which to do that, and when we get to that winner's announcement in a month's time, we'll also be showing off and saying who won and who was the top commended, so second and third in that, for the People's Choice Award. Anyway, that's everything for me now. That is the info dump done, so you can now get on and see who are our top 10 individual models for Every Model is a Necromunda Model 2024. Over to myself, Chris, and Carl. Take it away. one was submitted by Toad, aka Frog Factory Pics on Instagram, and it was the Scarlet Vypers. So absolutely fantastic gang, right? Overall, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Really beautiful game.
Yeah, they're brilliant. It's really nice conversions.
Yes.
I love the basing. Really nice.
Yeah, really diverse, lots of colours. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, it's an absolutely great.
I think particularly when you see the other shot, it's the sculpting and
So
endeavour they've gone to make them all unique characters is really good, and that's what
so this was
probably
the
highlighted best on their leader
that they submitted us for the individual, and it's actually deceptively much more detailed, like much more work than it appears, and that's what's kind of amazing about it, because it looks like a model off the shelf. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it does. It initially looks like it breaks the rules by just being an Escher model.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of sculpting on there.
It looks great.
It does look great. It's not, and it's and we do come on to talking about it as part of a gang as well. Like the whole gang was put together in a similar fashion, but it's a really cohesive gang. But this model does just stand out on
in this
on
instance, it's got really good silhouette. You know, like when we were looking at best miniature, we were really looking bashing alternative parts. Like this one brings in loads of really cool alternative parts in there, as well as lots of nicely sculpted bits. You know, it's got a really strong pose and silhouette, which was probably for me my next thing I was looking at for single best miniature, is you want it to really stand out as a good miniature.
Yeah, it's got that sort of S shape that you want to kind of get. The sort of over the shoulder posing's really good. It is imposing as well in that, and it's I think that was
the setting really nicely as well. You know, it does exude a good Necromunda vibes. You know, I know it's a broad setting, but specifically it fits well as an Escher, and it has some of those kind of high gothic piratey aspects to it as well, which is really nice.
Yeah,
something that a lot of converters don't tend to spend the time on, and they have on it. I hope they have, and they've done it on purpose. Is that the winds caught the hair and the cloak at the same angle, which means that the sense of movement and fluidity is all the same, and the line follows down, rather than normally you just get like a random hairstyle and a random cloak swirl, but you can see where it's all gone the same way. And I really like that, especially as, again, it's all about movement, and like you're not missing any of the liquidity that you'd normally get with a normally sculpted model, with a model that's digitally sculpted or hand sculpted. This looks like a thing, like you said, that could be bought from Games Workshop.
It really does.
And
that's a really excellent point.
No, that's a really good point, and that is part of it. And that whole like sort of the piratey vibe of it, that kind of windswept look really just sells it as well, doesn't it?
It does sell that. Yeah,
it does.
And
I love the fact that back bit that's a Stormcast bit, isn't it? The back on if you look at her hair, the back panel, I don't know what this is called behind it. That's a storm. Look, how did they even cut that off?
Yeah, that's excellent to use pieces of armor like that to make a nice cowl like back.
And they've
collar.
Got these little, all the little like just bits of tech are just
the Escher Chem vial worked in to be a backpack piece is really good as well, because they're quite awkward to mount onto miniatures. So when I saw that, I was like, I might have to steal that.
Yeah, and there's not you don't see, like, I'm not going to say it's a great paint job, but I'm not going to say it's like the best paint job, but you can't see any fingerprints or where the green stuff or whatever they've used.
There's no obvious errors on there, it's
no, there is.
There's a texture as well to the cape, and texture is like my number one thing. If you just have a flat color, it tends to lend itself to boredom. But when you look at the cape, there's a texture that's intended. You can see where it's been done, and then painted on purpose. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
I am a big fan of that. So, read.
No, that's really cool.
I should have got a notebook out so I can
make some notes.
Make some notes.
I think the other things that I think that what is kind of critical about it as well, that we had lots of great, there's so many great entries, and I think the thing that really struck me about this is and just going back to my original point of it feeling like a GW model, is it's the level of detail that they've put into it feels always appropriate for the scale of model. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's kind of a silly thing to say, maybe, but like I've been painting an old
detail creep is a thing.
Yeah, I've been painting an old Hammer model
definitely
recently, and I've just been appreciating how how well that sort of like era did at managing and making detail work for 32mm or 28mm scale models. And this has been done with a lot of skill in that as well. Like there's nothing on here that's like overtly detailed that it just gets lost. Everything you see that feather, and it's perfectly rendered that I can see it's a feather. I can see that cloak. I can see all the studs. I can see the vial on its back. I can see the cord coming out of the arm. I can see the spikes on the post. It's just every single thing is visible and clear at this scale. Yeah. And at the scale I'm seeing it on my screen, where my screen's not huge, that is about the same size as a model at a table distance, and it's clear to me. So I think that's a really good.
It's not a million pockets and 100 grenades and
exactly.
It's not overly busy, but yet every time your eye moves around the model, you're picking out something interesting. It's not flat either. It's got that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like it.
All right, great.
I think
that's awesome. All right, so moving on to the next one. RMA Ruben Martinez on Instagram sent this over, which is it's just incredible.
It's quite excellent.
We all love it for its references to, me and Chris, I don't know how, Carl, if you're of an age to have appreciated
yes,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, definitely.
But
definitely
I was like,
bebop feel to it.
Bebop,
It made me smile as soon as he sent over the first shot of the bare plastic miniature. I was like, yeah, go on, mate, that's cool, that's fun.
Yeah, so there is a shot of that here,
for that.
which we've got. It's not this photo, this one. So this is the actual
that's good,
and it shows like the amount of like bits that have had to go into this. There's a bit of 3D printing, but there's also some green stuff on there. There's some other bits of resin stuck in. It's just really
some plastic card.
So much
plastic card.
Did he sculpt that himself?
I don't
most of it.
I think the base model is a 3D model that he found, and then sculpted all the green stuff bits that the light.
Right.
Yeah, and kit bashed in the composite weapon and plastic card bits and that. Yeah.
And he's lighting a cigar as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
He's lighting his cigar off of his own flamethrower, which is
Is there a better shot? Yeah, there you go. You can see it there, and I appreciate the fact that it's a diorama with a base that you can take it out and put it on a plinth.
Playable miniature. The base supports that.
Yeah, it really is. We've got to talk about the paint job as well, but we've also got to say that. Ruben Martinez is a 2-time Slay Award winner, so it's not unexpected that this is an incredible paint job, but I'm also very much aware that he did do this purely for the competition, so this is
specifically
not a ridiculously short time that I feel so embarrassed about what I get done as a paint job. But
agreed.
It's an absolutely it says everything about it. It says everything about Necromunda that I love, which is greebly, like it's grimy, it's kind of rough, it's industrial, and there's flamethrowers. Do you know what I mean?
And the glow
violent
is
and colourful.
Very good.
Yeah.
The OSL from the light. If you so. We can get rid of all the stuff at the top. That red light, they're great, but those are easy. If you look down on the side, there's a green and 2 red lights. Yeah. Can you see the green on the side of the metal there?
Yeah.
That is so hard to do nicely, and it looks great. And I know that we're not judging that bit, but just that bit. But you can even see the same. I don't know what Ruben's pronouns are, but they're lighting effect on the carries across and that level of on professional,
a little bit on the belly.
On the stomach, but also on the mouth. So it doesn't extend beyond. You can see it's red, not yellow, because the light's gone beyond, and it is it's just that's me. Even to the point where you can see there's a little bit caught on the hair, just at the top, just enough. And anything like that, the little details.
It's skill.
Amazing.
This might come back again. Let's just say this might come back. But as a model and as an individual model, it's incredibly striking.
Still very good.
Piece of kit bashing. It's so it's just iconic. It's an iconic piece, and it would be remiss to say that this is not, a quality piece of kit bashing, irrespective of the paint job. I think as well. Like, I think that I would definitely.
Yeah, no. If we ignore the paint job, I think it's the concise changes that were made really, really good.
And the narrative it sells. Like, you've got that person's vibe, like, immediately from this image.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They told a little story with the base. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
So no, you keep going. Yeah, you finish first.
Yeah, I was going to say that one of the things that me and Hamilton put out was a list of things we were looking at, and like he was saying with the narrative, the base really supports the narrative of the miniatures pose. The whole thing tells that little story of like him just kind of sauntering out of the club, after doing God knows what debauchery and lighting up his cigar. Stepping out either to kick some ass or just carry on with the evening's debauchery. Really, it's a really fun miniature that kind of makes you think.
Off to get a kebab. You know what? I totally agree. That's what it is.
I think that's it. That's the narrative from this point forward. He's off to get a kebab.
Yeah, they're all off to get kebabs. My compared to, so I love this one. This is, like I said this before we started, that this is one of my favorites, mainly for the paint job. The kit bash itself is brilliant, but it lacks, compared to like the Escher before, it doesn't adhere to physics as much as the Escher one did. So he's got a weird, awkward pose, which he had to do in order to get the flamethrower at that angle. Yeah. And Hamilton knows this, but I have a thing for 2D poses. I hate them. Like Games Workshop's tactical rock pose, which is the arm one side, arm the other side. And this does suffer a little bit from that, where this arm is just out here. Yeah, it is. And it could have been, he's turned slightly, but there's no reason for the turn. There's no weight in the bolt.
Yeah, the other arm isn't weighted naturally. No, I do agree.
No,
I get that.
So that would be my... I'm a big fan of creating things that look like the one before where you saw the wind direction. But this is brilliant. Like we said,
I know it clearly is. Very high skill, but it's fair to be critical as well.
No, I agree with that. I think it only makes up for it in the fact that the pose is cool in its own way because it's telling a story. But I agree with that because you're quite right. There is a little awkwardness to it. But then again, that's a very awkward, like the body and the shape and the whole thing is.
He's a chunky boy.
He's a chunky boy, and he's got a weird. He's got a weird anatomy. But
weird gait.
That's it. That's my criticism for it. I don't have any
I would agree. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Like the last one's criticism wasn't that the paint job isn't exactly the most excellent. A fair criticism here is that they haven't gone to great lengths to kit bash the miniature to be fully homogenous. It is just legitimately very well done, but it is a weapon swap.
Yeah. So. I love it. Well, let's move on to the next one. So this next one is Guaca Miniatures and this excellent Delac style Gene Stealer. So you were saying, Chris, before that you think this model is partially Van Saar or something?
Is that just an old Van Saar? Is it an old Van Saar model, like one of the 1994, 96 GW ones? I don't know. It's not like overall, that's just the base of it. It was just an interesting thing that I thought. I was trying to recognize the feet and knees, but it might be. I might be wrong.
No, I can.
No, I think it is.
I think you're right.
I'm wrong. I think I really like it.
There, isn't there?
Yeah,
it's Acadian torso. Yeah.
The thing that this one for me, the one thing I loved about this is so there was some random rolling tables that we made for it, and they rolled neo noir, and they've gone to town. They've gone to town on that look.
Yeah, they lent into it, didn't they?
Yeah,
and it's not only from a visual standpoint of like the model, but they put it into the paint job, they put it into the expression of it, and that works so well with that sort of like Delac and Gene Stealer sort of vibe. You can just imagine the whole TV show. Do you know what I mean? Of like a neo-noir detective story.
It's a proper character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I love the paper on the base that adds the proper noir setting.
Exactly, the paper, and again, papers blowing in the wind. Yeah,
hard to blow, hard to get a wind effect with the paper on the base.
It's really good.
It's to the movement, and the cape and that. It's all good.
The cape's nice.
Really.
It does suffer a little bit from the old green stuff shine, but that's fine. We're not here. You've got to mark them fairly.
No, you
but
are
it's,
right.
it's they look great. It looks great.
There's some quite bad 3D printing marks. Like there's bad things to say as well as there's good things to say. We could all do that about our own work.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're here to judge.
Yeah, no, you're completely right.
Yeah. It looks. I really like it. Are we judging the backdrop as well of it?
Yeah,
or are we
I think
not?
it's
we
part.
leave it?
I think it's just part of it.
I think so. This one doesn't lift apart, so realistically, this is just one big thing. So the backdrop is.
Yeah,
I think
the red's nice. The OSL on it's nice.
Yeah,
I like the glow. I really like because I think that's multiple bits. That's obviously been created, like the back wall, and I really like that. It's nice. On a pretty standard Necromunda base, which is I don't hate. I like the idea of taking a Necromunda base and adding that flavor to it rather than just
it's a big
building
one
from
isn't it?
scratch.
Is that from like an amber?
Makes it fit in the setting.
Is that a one? Must be.
It's
it's like
mil,
it's like a 40 mil.
Yeah.
Unless that's an epic sized mini.
Yeah, well, maybe not. I mean, I'm not going
Necromunda.
Necromini. No, that doesn't work.
Next year's competition, Nepic, where we're going to see how small we can get them.
On the side, on top of Pinhead. Yeah, it's. I also just love the it's always a great thing about GC's the additional limbs, but the way that you're very much drawn to this first one where he's pulling the cloak up, and then you notice, there's a second hand down there. Yep. It didn't.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. I didn't register it until I looked at it for a while, and I was like at this shot, and I was like, oh wait, there's another hand. Oh, it definitely is Gene Stealer. And then you go to this view, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, they've transformed. Yeah. Quite
if you saw a gang of those on the table, you'd be impressed.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what one of the things I think.
Yeah, the narrative in there of him walking along the wall edge with his heavily mutated arm hidden in the shadows, and his other little arm just tucked in his jacket. That was well thought out.
It's been really well thought out. It just shows. I think the thing with this one, it just spoke to you immediately. It's so striking, those glasses with the white, and then the more you read into it, you were just like. Every single thing about this, and I think this is the same for the last two, but particularly the first one. Just you could see that it's been so well considered, at every step. The first one, the detail being quite right.
Person cares about their story.
Yeah, exactly. This is just every single move in this model has been thought about. It feels like, and I think that's what really sold it to me, and I think it's what makes it quite striking because of that. As along with obviously, because there was another model in a series of gangs in this which didn't make it into the best top 10, but it was in our top 25, which was the Grots that was a neo noir, and one of my favorite stories as well, and that also had the same effect and the beautiful paint job of it, but this one just pushed it out just because it was just another level of
I think
another level had been put into it in terms of just the cohesion of the one model and the amount of kit bashing and the additional pieces of green stuffing that just edged it. Do you know what I mean? So it was like this is how close it got. I think just to use it as an example. And so there
was a few people that went hard on the neo noir color palette, and but this one definitely just
it's nice.
Well, did it
good. Yeah.
All right. So the next one is by that one bearded gent on Instagram, and another neo noir style color scheme, but another a great bit of work here, and I don't know, maybe I'm just a fan of the old hammerness of it, but there's something
I think we all are.
Yeah, I think we all are, right?
So I really, it's definitely an Archon, isn't it? Like the top half of that is an old school Dark Eldar Archon. Before they became the Drukhari, or Drukhari.
Yeah.
Now, the ones no one plays.
I do use them a lot for kit bashing, but they are great for kit bashing. But
they're great for spikes. They're great for spikes.
Good for chaos.
If you want nice angles and
there's
smooth spikes.
muscles.
but there's
chitinous spikes.
a lot going on in this model, and not only with the scale. He's standing atop a huge rat for a start, which is just like, I don't know, I love it in that sense. And then this entire diorama of Necromundan, like
detritus.
Detritus, exactly, that is the right word.
It's a good word.
That is just strewn across the whole base, and it's got this very like Game of Thrones like sword throne base, you know, like all these bits coming out at an angle just make me think of that throne, like the complete base layer of it. It just
it does lead your eye up to the miniature nicely.
It just brings
little raised area, and
I think
even though it's not sunk into it, it does it does kind of convalesce your eyes. So.
And there was something in the simplicity for me in this one that struck me. I don't know for yourselves, but it was just like, I know it's not, okay, the base isn't simple, but the model itself and the paint job is rather simple.
I do agree.
That it just struck me like how much was done with so little in the paint job, but so what it really did was highlight how much work has gone into pulling it all together. Personally, for me, that's kind of what I felt.
No, I agree. Yeah. Sometimes it shows you how little is enough. Sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
We went over that at the very beginning when we talked about the Escher gang, how it's very easy to just overdo things when you're kit bashing. And
I mean, it's not to say that there's a lot being done in the space. Like, it's not.
No,
like,
oh yes, is it indeed?
It's not covered in computer consoles. There's not hundreds of different bits. It's very definitely an area of industrial action and
but it's not, and decay, and that's. It's just showing that off, you know. It's not trying to do 10 things at once.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to have a sunken base if we're going to have the base part of the base. I think
that's the big negative.
Yeah. If it's part of the base, great.
In a time constraint thing, or it may have just been a technical skill thing that they've never done that before, you know.
Or there's a gang that goes with this, and this is like the display plinth.
I don't know.
It immediately spoke to me as a rat skin, even though, you know.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's the sort of scavies of the old days, and it just it has that real like old school Necromunda. We are the sort of like that borderline between just like hedonistic scavengers that are sort of like that just sort of rampage through the underhive, like not even the underhive, and like the even below that the sump levels of it that is, you know, it's just like deep in the bowels, fighting with massive gigantic rats and huge unbeknown beasts that lurk in the shadows, and this sort of scavenger has just sort of survived through all of it, and you can see it just in the model, and it just speaks to that to me. That's
yeah. He looks fierce. It's good,
very fierce.
You feel him.
So our next one is then by Sludgeworm. I'm going to say what I've said. I've said to Carl on the phone, and I think also said to Chris, was that this is a 40k meme. This is of everything that is 40K.
It's quintessential.
Yeah, it is the if someone said like, show me a model that expresses like 40k in a sentence 40K. Or in just one model, I'd show him this, because it has all the bits you need. It's got skulls. It's got it's got those. It's got medieval inspired sci-fi armor. Done. It's got candles. It's got religious iconography. It's got a flame sword. It's got a tactical rock. It's got a cowl over his head, and and it's got floating skulls and some.
It's even got a gothic statue,
and it's even got a
technically on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little chunk. Yeah.
So it's done,
badass,
and it's fucking badass. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if the title of this was The Edgelord.
Yes,
that's the kind of his backstory is his parents are dead and he's got no friends. And, you know, like that's the kind of I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah,
it's what my character would do.
Yes,
no, that's what.
It's like I bring the grim to the dark.
Yeah. Grindark, it's with an N. When you smile, it's because he's in a rictus. I like this. I really like this because of the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
I get the paint job isn't the best, but actually it's very basic, and in that way it's good. Like there's not a whole ton of colors in here, but all of them are done great.
Yeah.
Like again, we're not talking about an expert level here. We're not talking about Slayers or what we're talking about here is someone who absolutely understands how light works.
Yeah.
First of all, which is
that's
very
the important thing.
Even the candles. Look at the top of the candles. They're great. They're lovely little things. Yeah. But the kit bash itself is so subtle. I can't see the joins, and I don't know where.
I know what the model baseline is because there's the Crimson Court Prince de Val is the foot, the part of the base that the foot's on, and the upper torso. And then the arm the two arms are completely different arms. This shawl is not on that model. This pauldron from an Arbites, I believe, is additional. This head, and I think the cowl is sculpted on. It's
Warcry.
It's like Taskmaster, isn't he, from Marvel?
Yeah, I really recognise the double slotted eyes, but I can't think exactly what set it's from. But I think it's the Warcry set.
Probably, but I mean, that's a great place for things, and that servitor's a servitor. But the sensor's great. I mean,
the sensor's all been built because that's hobby chain. You know, so that's all built in together.
I would not put that in a case.
Drilled out a little smoke grenade.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I would not put that in a case.
Oh,
that would die the moment it moved.
It would,
That is an advert for magnetic carrier cases. That one is
100%. Yeah.
That is story, but the smoke on that is great. My only thing is the flames of the smoke are going different ways, but that's just a little bit. But it's wind.
So at least going.
It depends on how he's swinging it.
It's still flowing. It's still flowing that way.
At least
I don't think
similar directions.
Yeah.
And the cloak's going that way. It's close enough. I'm not. Like I said, just a little bit. It just is my.
I'm with you.
No, that's fair. It's important to have criticisms as well,
Yeah.
But no, that's it, really. I don't really... again, if it's
I think that's it.
then it's... But it's lovely.
It's the fire doesn't quite homogenise with the rest of the sword.
Here's a photo of it put together.
Excellent,
So you can see all the bits. So that cloak is sculpted. That cowl is sculpted. It's a very good piece of sculpting. And it said the chain and the guitar string are all put together. There's a lot of work that's gone into making this. And as you said, Chris,
I don't think that's an Arbite shoulder. I think that is a fantasy shoulder. I think that might be a.
Or is it the Arbites? They've got ones on their hips as well. Some of the Arbites.
Maybe
it's Arbite. I'm sure that it's definitely an Imperial Eagle, but maybe it could be.
Yeah, but you get those in the armies of Sigmar as well.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true.
Cities of Sigmar, sorry, not armies of Sigmar.
Right.
Yeah, no, you know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's only because it's got. Is that?
But yeah,
no, isn't it?
We don't have to do it, but it's.
Minister of Silence piece, maybe, because it's quite little.
Yeah, absolutely. You get purity seals in thingy as well. We were talking about this before. Stormcasts now are basically Space Marines. They've got all of the. They've got everything on it. It doesn't really matter. I'm just
you're right.
A conversation.
But no, it's part of it. It shows that this is a real, just good example of kit bashing. It's there are pieces from
bringing all these parts together from different,
blended them all together to make the ultimate Warhammer meme. So totally.
This tells me how old I am, because that orange plastic, I can't, my brain will not let me comprehend the orange plastic. Even though I know that Games Workshop now makes stuff in all different colors of plastic, depending on which game you've put. But in my brain, I'm like, no, it must be part of Hero Quest or something. Yeah,
exactly.
It just won't. But it's not. It's obviously not.
It's all the it's because it's Underworlds, and I've got that Underworlds bone set, the Deathmore or whatever it's called, and that's all in bone white, which reminds me of really crap plastic miniatures from my childhood.
That's Hero Quest,
and that's Hero Quest, and I'm like, it just is so wrong, but it's fine.
Or the Dungeons and Dragons board game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh my god. But it's not. My brain is like, no, it's not. But it is great. It is great.
It's a great mini.
And like you say, that servitor is
great for this kit bashing.
Yeah, for everything.
That's kit bashing. All right, that's enough on this one. Let's move on to our next one. Yes. This was submitted by Tabletop Ready. and this is the sludge, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. We had two models of a very similar nature that both were in the top 25, and it was a very hard decision between the two, and it came down to this one because it felt like there was a little bit more kit bashing involved in this one.
A bit more narrative, bit more kit bashing.
Narrative.
Yeah.
And the companion model that went with this one really just as well, like, I know it's an individual model, but it showed...
They entered both technically, but yes.
Yeah, but I think
fit really well together.
What it showed is like an understanding
no different.
That there's an understanding of how they've created this one, that there was a cohesiveness of narrative to be able to create a second model that held together.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about it. And I think the sludge is great.
The sludge is great. I really like all the bits. If you look on the right one, I think that's a Skaven model with bits from a Nurgle model, like that hand pouring. I think that ends in a skeleton at the bottom. Then there's Necron bits, and that's from a Space Marine Tech Marine on top, I think.
Yeah.
And then God knows how much Age of Sigmar stuff in there. My only thing with it is a painting thing, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Everything else I really like about it. Because we're obviously judging big red cloak guy. We're not judging this other dude.
No, little guy, ignore him.
Little fella.
Yeah.
But my only thing is that there is a very slight OSL, so there's a little bit of object source lighting, but it's not consistent. Like it's just some places, not others.
Yeah. It's like not.
But
on the
I really
staff.
like.
It's not on that leg.
It's not on the toes, but it's
the candle lights.
You don't get it through the candle exactly. But that pot that he's pouring they're pouring is so well painted. I mean, when we zoom in, it's never going to look as good
those
as
little, those little like.
But it looks organic.
But it looks organic. Yeah, it looks. And it's again really hard to get that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know where the highlights should go. So it made it look like a liquid rather than a smoke or just a random flat color. And that's really nice. And the same goes for the smoke.
Yeah. I was saying that it moves into becoming smoke really well as well. Like the smoke feels like smoke.
Yeah.
The liquid feels like liquid.
And he's painted this silver as well. Like they've painted this silver with metallics, and the metallics are smooth and nice, and they don't have that bittiness. Yeah,
but they've done the scratching on it and the edging in those little scratchy like scuff marks.
It's texture on it.
So
the cloak is so nicely textured.
It's very cartoony the way they've painted it in this sort of like blockiness, but it works really well and it's consistent across the model, the style.
That's the thing, because it's so consistent across the model. It works really nicely. That kind of cell shading look to it.
Yeah, it's a tough.
I'm a big fan of when parts like Necron parts are included. And they just don't shout Necron. You know, I think there's some armies that people will try and kit bash in things like Tyrant parts or Necron parts, or Tau parts, and they often just smack you in the face, and that can take you out of the fantasy. Yeah. But I feel like here it looks Mechanicus. The whole thing looks like grungy Mechanicus. Yeah. By bringing those colours in from the, where naturally they would be there anyway on the Necron parts with the glowy, gooey base, it all looks really good. The back of the model is really cool as well because it's such a weird mixture of the grungy fantasy base of the miniature and then the sci-fi parts he's added onto it.
Like I said, I think that the OSL has been where they've not done it, has been where they've been too worried to ruin the paint job.
Absolutely.
I've done that as well.
I can imagine that for sure.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and the way that the face just appears, like the shading's really good. It works really well. It's just sinister.
I'm like this trying to see
enough. It's just a really quality. It's a showcase of, like, as you said, like parts that you can utilize and put together. It's a showcase of narrative coalescence into one thing, utilizing so many different parts. And
very high sci-fi parts and very high fantasy parts brought together into a piece that still just screams Necromunda.
Which is what like the balance of Warhammer is, isn't it? It's finding that line.
Someone in the chat is going to be, someone in the comments is going to be like, no, actually, it's this, and we're going to be wrong. Yeah. We were wrong, but no, it is.
I'm sure there'll be people that can pick out the bits better.
Yeah,
but
but then that's kind of the great thing about it is that it doesn't matter where those bits have come from. They've all been combined into this one edifice that is just a great combination, and the trick should be not knowing where they're from, to be honest.
Absolutely. My partner says to me she thinks that kit bashes are good when she sees my kit bashes, and she doesn't know that it wasn't just a model.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important.
Like the last one, where we were like...
The first Escher one.
Yeah, and actually many of these, like this one, I think the last one we had, which was the meme of 40k, and the first one, if someone just said this is a model that GW make, I'd be like, yeah, fair play. I get that. I see that. That's the Necromunda Swamp King, and the last one was the Edgelord, and the first one is just another Escher leader, and I'm like, I'm with you. Totally agree.
Sure. And that one is Bebop.
That one is Bebop. That one, I'm like, that's definitely not a Necromunda model.
Alternate university crossover that we should have got.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Hey, look, don't rule it out. Magic the Gathering has crossovers all the time. Games Workshop's going to get there at some point.
Teenage Mutant
Universes Beyond.
40k came together, so why not?
I have a 40k Magic the Gathering deck. It's not going to be long before. Yeah, there you go. Which one?
Necrons.
So you went full money. I went Ruinous Powers. I'm a chaos kind of guy. I am that. There you go. Yeah.
Good. So this is from Benjamin.Wenham/Eris Shrugged in our Discord channel. And this piece is the piece, which is very moody.
It's
very moody.
I really like this, but I really want a clear photo.
Yeah. I think the photography is pretty incredible, but yes, it is.
Yes, I think it's pretty purposeful considering the photos on his other miniatures he submitted are quite different. He wanted to invent a story, and it works.
It really does.
And a cobbled street. We haven't seen a cobbled street in a long time, and they definitely have them. We've seen them in Necromunda art before, and this is very
if you play Darktide. Which is all in hive based. That's like embraces that kind of mashup of aesthetics, and it looks brilliant. And this really reminds me of that.
You should.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, it really is, and it just all the little pieces.
There's a few of these miniatures that use my posters, so like they get extra points there too.
Is that one of your posters there?
Are those yours posters?
Yeah, not all three of these are. Two of them on here are mine, and then there was a couple on a different piece as well. So the wanted poster and the big banner.
Oh, cool.
Those are...
Oh, that's cool.
They're really cool. Yeah,
I was going to say those are nice touches because they lean on the grim of the Necromunda is always heavily tech, and we miss the kind of religious iconography and all of the Inquisition ideas. That's kind of left out of most people's Necromunda image, and this is more John Blanchian, where we've got that kind of limited color palette. You could see all the stained stuff. There's a lot of browns, there's a lot of oranges and creams all blended together. And again, if I'd like a clearer one I'd want to see all the blending and stuff, but the conversion points to see where the conversion ends and stuff. But it is,
I love
because obviously that's a Geist, miniature. Right?
Yeah.
No, it's is it called the Geist? It's the old school Ghost that's got a Reaper scythe.
Oh, you see, that's it.
Miniature you could buy. That was a Reaper that only had a skull and then an empty cloak, and he was holding a scythe. I can't remember what he's called, unfortunately, but these really excellent.
Well, it was a Wraith back in those days, but it's now not a Wraith.
Yes, I think you're right. It was called the Wraith, wasn't it? Yeah, but I don't know what its Age of Sigmar name is.
But it's a great model. That model is
Terror Ghost. I think.
Yeah, it's a great baseline. But then adding those wings in from the Drukhari Scourgers is a great use of those. They're great.
Gorgeous.
I mean, I've used those on so many models. They're amazing.
Yeah, Scourge rings are cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
Worth using on everything.
And I think they've added a wet texture, like as in it's a shiny on the back. But again, I can't tell because they've added a matte filter over the top, so it's quite hard to tell. But that's quite a nice touch. We haven't seen a wet, glossy shine on it.
Definitely not all over. It's just in a few places, and it's just on the wings and then running down the cape.
Well, I'd like to see it without the filter so that we could see whether it was blending and paint or if it was gloss.
They've got two tones. So they've got the top bit of cloak, which is where the wings are connected, which is in like a sort of deeper, richer, sort of earthier tone, and then it goes into a blue cape that does seem to have...
So the blue cape looks wet, like it looks shiny.
Yeah, and it's got like lighter parts to it that edge it out. And the sort of tail they've added in there is kind of cool with the spiked end.
It's off a Necron-Wraith, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
I do really like it. It is a really nice piece. It's almost like a servitor gone rogue.
It's basically what advice gives me,
Yeah.
Broken its programming.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, I am a big fan of adding a little bit of extra pizzazz to your entry. You know, come on.
Yeah.
It's an online competition. Why not?
That's the narrative it gives, because you've got those Inquisition posters, and then you've got the banner is one of the Chaos banners that I made. Yeah. I made some good ones, and then some bad ones. So it having that banner, and then like you said, the winged servitor, it's definitely got that Chaos vibe. That it's just this like spooky, freaky creature. Just
hell is empty.
Convalescent floating through.
Yeah, it's such a great.
I like that.
So grimdark. Yeah, love it. Okay, we've only got a few more to go, so let's move on to these. So this one is from Warmanship Hobby and is Mutated Psyker, and it's another one of those models where I think it could be something that is created by GW.
It could. Box. This box brush, for sure. Yeah, maybe a little bit too grimy for them. But it's certainly a piece of artwork that I could totally see. And for me, when I saw this, it instantly took me to Elden Ring with the I don't know if anyone else has been playing Elden Ring with the sorcerers with the like big stone multi-headed crystals. I like the psychic attack that reminds me of one of the psychic attacks that they use in Darktide with the lots of little bolts.
Yes.
The blades. So that's
really
the knives, isn't it? Mine knives.
Yeah.
And the backpack is what I'm trying to get on. What I'm trying to unlock for my zealot on Darktide at the moment. That's it. But I like all the bits. Yeah, there's a massive book. And the tail coming out the bottom.
Yeah, the tail like just sneaking out. The sword is just
it balances the miniature
as well. Do you know what I mean? Like everything about it. There's nothing about it that's clean and crisp. Like
swords off a Poxwalker, I believe.
Yeah, and it's just,
I don't know if that is a tail. I think that's meant to be another limb. If you look, it's quite thick, and it goes down, and then that's just another. Yeah, like a thick. I know he's got his one leg out and another, but if you look, it kind of hits the floor, and it's all a thick. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's.
I like it a lot.
Some weird tumorous, disgusing thing coming out.
Yeah, weird
and also I like
potato.
The heads are a little bit like the Fueled by Chaos logo, so that gave me some wins.
Some nice OSL attempt there on the sleeve as well. Definitely. Not perfect, but I would prefer they did than didn't, because I always think miniatures without that kind of stuff. Yeah, it looks weird. Otherwise, I would like that grime to have been a bit more controlled, because what they've done is chucked an ink on it and left it. Yeah. I'd like it to have been a bit more use a sponge,
a bit more highly. We are judging primarily kit bashing, and in this prize, and not the painting.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
No, but it's fair. Yeah, it's a fair point. But it is as a kit bash.
I think it's just we've. Yeah, the weaknesses we picked up on a lot of miniatures has been more towards their painting style. And if we're going to make a winner, we probably need to make sure we
Just seeing if there was.
It's because that's it. That's the only thing. The kit bash has been great.
That's the problem, isn't it?
That's the problem.
Good. Excuse my language.
That's the thing. The kit bashing and the sculpting and the putting together, like the backpack being this tiny little thing holding up the slab tablets. The sort of like spermy things that are coming off their arm are cool in their own way. And
those are like shots. He's firing bolts.
Yeah.
It's lots of
make it
little magic
weird.
missiles.
Yeah, those,
Magic missiles. Yeah,
they're definitely sperms. And so,
it's what they are. If you saw that come out on GW's like website, you would totally go, that is a GW model.
Yeah.
I don't know if that head is sculpted or if it has been printed, but it looks like it's been sculpted.
Yeah.
But
sculpted.
We say about the paint job, but the paint job has covered up any lines or anything that we could see, which is great. That's what you want.
Yeah. It's definitely the psycho faces from Blackstone Fortress.
Is that right? So it's just that, and then they sculpted the brain bits between them.
Squished them together.
That's so good. It's just really quality put together.
I miss a muty force for Necromunda,
Yeah, they really need to make
it. I know, that's what I've been wanting for a while. They should get the
I think the fact that they've gone really well with the mouse strain.
Scavs, that's it, isn't it?
Pushing it a little bit further.
Oh, yeah.
That I feel like they should now come out with. I think because Delac haven't had yet their next. They're going to have a big. I think my theory is they have a big jump in the next edition, like in this next.
They kept the Delac vehicle back, for instance.
Yeah,
so
they were all very
plan
quiet in succession. So I feel if we're ever going to get what have the Delac been up to, then that might be where we get some more muty stuff, maybe some more psychery muty stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, let's.
Delac's are mine.
Yeah,
that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Mutants
with my space shark.
So let's move on to the penultimate one. By Whispering Fog, and this is The Patient Man, and it's I think it's just it's just so necromundery in all the necromundery ways.
It is great.
Something to be necromundery. I think it heralds everything that I think we've talked about a lot already, but we've talked about that sort of muty look and that griminess and just the and I think it captures that in a neo-punk cyberpunk way, which is just great. And the story behind it as well is it's very sweet, and it's also set, the creator really wanted to be a part of this process, but was unwell at the time, so was in hospital themselves, and this is sort of like a self-reflection on that in some respects, which is kind of like, it's so heartwarming they still put the time into putting this there, and it was something for them to do, and it is just still in that period of time an absolutely incredible piece of kit bashing, and the whole scenery. Like, I want to play on their board wherever their board is.
Their board is cool. They have some great photos of their stuff.
Yeah, and all these little white dwarfs they've got in their cabinet. You see that? That's what I mean.
That is nice.
That is such
That's what you need when you're in your hospital bed, isn't it? Some quality reading.
Also,
great quality.
I don't know if it's
a massive gun.
If it's my screen.
Yeah.
That's in the face.
But I can't tell if those pipes are painted or if they're red and green liquid.
Yes.
So
no, I can't tell either. Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah, no, I think they're painted, but it's also like, is that liquid is that just bags of liquid or is it? Yeah, no.
Is it
the tubes that are hard?
Is it glow stick goo or is it?
Yeah, because that's what I would think.
Really nicely, don't they?
Because they got that little.
If you look at you've got that's what I mean. The bubbles, because then we're talking about it being a physical thing rather than a paint job, and that's a different
it's hard
thing.
To tell.
That's like a different level. I really like this. Are we worried about it being playable, or are we not worried about it?
I'm not worried about this being playable.
I think lots of them break that. Unfortunately, it's not something we really touched on enough in the rules. People have.
I don't think
people
so.
have done dioramas and things. So I think we did for this. We talked about it, didn't we, Hamilton? And it has to just be a wipe for this particular year.
Yeah,
and
I think next year we might be a bit more clearer on dioramas, individual models that gang playable and stuff like that. So if we did
playable basis being a defining factor.
Yeah, exactly. So
now let's not worry.
But I think this model itself, if you just take it as a model individually, it's a great bit of kit bashing. It's really got. It's just the quality and the seamlessness and the paint job, but all the pieces put together, making this one overall thing that speaks so highly about it. The fact that he's still in bed, but he's still holding his gun. Love it.
Yeah.
You know, like he's still
Got
working.
his las gun.
Yeah, he's got his last
Command in his army.
Yeah,
from
command in his army
the
from
console.
Yeah. Got his
Yeah.
psycho creepy wizard guy in the corner, ready to
Yeah. Indeed.
whatever needed to dispatch.
Astropath
Blow
is
someone's
what he
brains
looks
out with
like.
his mind. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah.
Relay anything you need. Little server to stuck to the top of the
relaying
bed.
those psychic commands.
Because it's kind of, there's like a digital display down here, but there's a brain in it. There's digital display, but there's a brain on it. So don't worry, you don't have to get the Inquisition on them. They're still servitors. They're not.
As they say in Inquisitive Arta, they say, a servitor to use as a door, such opulence. He's got him. That's what you want, is your nurse built into your bed, don't you?
Great.
Do you want more morphine?
Yes, please. Red or
Changing
yellow?
catheter plan.
Red.
There you go.
Which?
The server sorter.
So great. It's so good. It's a really great model. And narratively works really well, and in so many levels. The fact of it speaks to the person, to the piece, and all the things kind of working together into the thing. It's really good, and the little details are what makes it really make it. Special.
Agreed. Yeah,
really good. Okay, that's the penultimate one. We've got our final
one.
Final top 10.
One.
Da, da, da. And this one comes from Ross Barrable. I think that's how you say it. Ross Barrable on Instagram. And it is Gaston de Slop, which is a fabulous, fabulous model. Definitely having a lot of fun here.
In fact, we had quite a lot of like grimdark miniatures coming through, but the last two are having fun with the grimdark, and I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And
the decent amount of hot humor and satire in Warhammer 40k that
I mean,
it's
the
important
corpse riders
characteristic to remember.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, and I think we've there's been actually quite a bit of seriousness, but like Ruben's piece is kind of humorous in it, sort of like in the
that's true.
Pig, like character.
Yeah. His saddles the line very nicely.
Yeah, it's still very. I think it's made more serious by the paint job, but I think even the Delac, G Stealer, it's kind of comical. It's very like it's comic book, but it's also quite like, I've got to find Guillaume, I'm hiding it away. And
for sure.
And this
very
one
comic book
is just like if Disney did corpse grinder cults. So I'm down with it. Do you know what I mean? He's ratatouille'd. But
he's definitely
100%.
Yeah,
that is.
I want to know what the indistinct ball is. I think it's meant to be peas, but it's also got a glow. Like the paint is glow, but I would like a bit more definition as to what that is. Like, look, it just green balls.
It's some random glowing fungus.
Yeah, it's food.
Yeah, random glowing balls. But I really like it.
Maybe it is random growing balls. Yeah.
Random glowing balls. Just there's a rat underneath it.
That's the Necromunda version of chocolate salty balls. Is random glowing balls.
I like it. Before you get onto the sea. Those glowing balls.
Yeah.
I would like more food on the base. I think that's what I want. Is more like, but I like it. It's a good one.
We need a diorama of like a full grill.
We needed more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ross, where's the grill? Why have you not put a barbecue on for us?
Exactly.
Let's look at that butt. We need to see. Look at that. Hand-painted checks.
Hand-painted checks is always...
Yeah, hand-painted checks are hard, especially
I just said
that.
Don't talk about the painting, and then instantly I'm like, oh, hand-painted checks. Because it is a paint.
You can talk about... I think that painting... I think a good conversion, it can be ruined by a bad paint job, but also a bad conversion can't be hidden by a paint job.
That's very true.
You can be the best painter in the world, but if it isn't converted well, it'll look awful.
Yeah.
So I think that when you talk about the paint job, it's usually because the model looks like a model you would buy. Yeah. So then you would paint it and it looks like a model. It doesn't look like bits of models. It looks like a model.
It's true. And in this one, there's a lot of sculpting.
There is.
To bring the chef character to life. Yeah. From the custom carved spoon to the full chef's get up.
Yeah.
And they're not 3D printed pieces. They're bits that he sculpted, out of green stuff. So I think that's
really
that's a bit of
the hat especially is
in that respect. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a really
It probably looks like a bit, doesn't it?
It just does. It looks like, oh, it's 3D printed that. It's just...
Yeah.
But even if it was 3D printed, you're like, where's the seam line? It kind of fits on the head too good.
The only thing is the big spoon is slightly off from the hand, but that doesn't make any difference at all.
Yeah, I totally with you. When you see it from this view, you're like, it just needs to be in there. I think it's the paint.
But that's the same.
I think the paint. I think because the paint's gone up the hand.
The glue is probably bubbled up, just trying to get it in there. Because it's such thin piece of plastic card.
Yeah,
you need to join up there. That's going to be another one of those.
Really
you can never go in a case miniatures. That's the truth of these things. When you're making these miniatures, it's so hard to do that.
100%.
Look how thin the plastic is where he's drilled out the bottom of the spoon,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's absolutely hard. That's, like I said, it's not a massive criticism. It's just I am one of those people that will keep going until it's and then ruin it completely.
Yeah. It's really cool. And I think
really
the thing with paint, just going back on that, I like that there are things that just, I think even though it's not part of it, it's not painting, it talks about how it builds it all together as a whole. And it's like the handprint, bloody handprint put on there.
Handprint is really nice, yeah.
Great. It's just such a nice little movement. You're like, that is someone that's ended up in the soup. And it speaks to the whole narrative of this whole model. Do you know what I mean? That's their final handprint.
Yeah, I like to think that's literally just happened. They just reached up as they've been crawling towards him and just wiped their hand
and the knife just chopped the hand.
That's the last knife just been like, no, sorry.
In the soup. And
is he? I want to know if is he carrying the soup to feed to people or is it a weapon? That's my question. That's my narrow. I want to know if is it a good soup or a bad soup?
Well,
what are we thinking there?
Soup. So
it's good soup. Yeah,
exactly.
It's definitely strange meat soup.
Maybe
look how sealed it is as well. On top, it's got clamps.
I mean, it's coming out as balls
we can just see. Yeah.
So maybe it is deadly.
Potentially is. Yeah.
Maybe he's throwing it. Like,
maybe the spoon is more like one of those dog toys.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Dog throwers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a catapult.
It's like scoops out some soup and it's like you take that straight to the face.
It's just acidic. It's burning through.
Acrid soup.
Yeah, I had that at school when I was a kid.
Great.
This is
the famous acrid soup.
Yeah. You talked about like posing. It's like a T pose. But there's a lot going on.
I'm trying not to criticize the pose because of how much sculpting there is in it.
Yeah.
It's an awkward pose, but it's the only reason I brought it up with Bebop was because it was literally the only problem with it.
Yeah, no, I know.
And here there's so much sculpting in this that I don't really want to criticize that because it's a great job. It looks nice.
That's what I mean. It's a good job still. It's just like that is the one thing you'd be like, well, it could be more dynamic. Maybe there's something kind of bumbly and sort of like
personally don't mind the spoon arm out.
Yeah,
I think this is just a little bit blocky.
Yeah,
the arm needs to for muscle
this doesn't work quite nicely. Quite right.
For musculature, the soup needs to come in slightly, so there's an arc. That's all, but it's because it's so straight out. It's not something you would normally be able to do comfortably with the elbow. That's just like I've been doing the hobby for 30 years. And it is something that I've just like looked at and I've been a commission painter for 20 of those, and it is something that I've looked at and gone, I will fix this bit like this. But again, I only because Hamilton's brought it up is I would ever say anything.
Yeah, no, I
can see because there's so much sculpting that it's just and it's very rare to see that much work go into something
and it's
like
great.
this.
I think the pose looks a lot better from this angle actually, where it kind of gives you that pushed forward and he's sort of standing very, but also I think it works with what the character's saying. It's like, hello, welcome to my restaurant. Are you the chicken or do you want the chicken? Sort of thing. Like
he's hunting for his menu for the day, isn't he? That's what he's doing.
You look tasty. And the eyes being fucking freaky is working for me as well. I'm like, that is... Yeah.
That's because he's dead. Inside, he's just rats.
Yeah, he's just rats. Yeah. He's just
You think that's a real person. He's just a bag of rats. He's just full.
So they're just slots, and there's just rats in there.
There's rats between them.
That's
like
where the pose is a bit
rigid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like having to do the levers, and he's like,
it's the guy from it's the guy in
from Men in Black.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Edgar.
Yeah, Edgar. Yeah, that's
sugar, water,
in suit.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
He does give those vibes off a little bit. He's a chunky dude.
Yeah.
It's just the Necromunda version of
plentiful
Ratatouille,
skin.
and it's just a lot of rats. This is the rat king.
Ratatouille meets Edgar, meets Necromunda.
Splattertouille.
Splattertouille. There we go. We have to tell Ross. You have to rename.
Yeah.
Name whichever
Gaston de Slop to
tender restaurant. Gaston, yes. Splattertouille. Or at least make a restaurant for him to work in that's called Splattertouille.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow, weren't they all great models? I can't tell you how difficult it was to come to that top 10. I do hope, congratulations to everyone who made it into there, and we do hope to see all of you there at our live show in a month's time, because one of you are going to be our winner, and two of you are going to be highly commended and are going to get yourselves some prizes, so we'd love to have you there, ready to be able to chat with you at the live event, so we can give your awards and talk to you about your model, and I do hope we've done a service to what you said, but I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts, and please be lovely and generous and kind to everyone. And if you do have any questions, or you want to talk to us and you want some further information on your own models, please do at me, Carl, or Chris in the Discord, which there'll be links in the show notes below, and you can just talk to us, and I'm happy to talk about anyone's model in further detail, as long as I find. Just be aware that it might take me time to get back to you. But that is it for those. Next time we'll be showing off the top 10 gangs, and then following that, the top 10 best painted. But before you go, I want to talk about the People's Choice Award. This is where you get to have your say. We're going to be taking our top 25 individual models, which were taken from collating all of our personal top 25s, overlaying them and see which overlaps with the top 25 of those. And you can go to a link below to a Google voting form where you can vote for your favorite 3, and we will collate all of those votes, and the top 3 will give given prizes. First highest one will get all the winners' prizes, and 2 highly commended will get their own little statuette, and they'll get obviously all your appreciation. So with that, you can go and see all of them now in the little video I'm going to start showing after I talk, where you'll see every single one of those top 25, and you can go to the Discord, again in the links below, and you'll see them again on the Google form. So lots of places to see them, but if you want to just go to any of those places, you can find all that, and the information, I will repeat this all on the Discord in a special channel. So that is everything hopefully on that. If you do have any questions, you can always leave me a comment below or find me in the Discord channel. And please do go and vote. Everyone put so much effort into each of these models, and we really would love to hear your say and make this a proper people's vote, because I think, you know, the competition was built around the community, and we really wanted to have this as one of the segments because we really wanted the community to have their say, because it's not all about us, it's definitely all about you. And also it alleviates some of the work on us, because, you know, it's a lot of pressure to make these choices. Oh gosh, I can't tell you. But anyway, thank you to everyone who got involved, and thank you to watching, and please do go vote. And if you want to see when the next video comes out, you know, I do the YouTube bit. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and you'll get the note bell for the notifications when that next video is out. And until next time, you stay safe and unhive. Bye, everyone.